Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your other nose Shorty, and today we're going to be looking at Resurrection Man Quantum Karma by Ram V and Anand RK. And I've got to say, after starting my week reviewing a Garth Ennis book, following up with some Al Ewing, and now onto Ram V, I feel like I genuinely want to read something mediocre for a while. I worry people watching these thinking I'm just going to automatically give out amazing reviews for everything because I run in a comic book store, rather than actually looking at them and telling people why they're good. Because honestly, I'm about to tell you that this one's good as well. I've got a Marvel's Rivals book. I might read that one, just to, take the edge off a little bit. I can't imagine that one's going to blow my mind quite in the same way. But this one does. It is absolutely spectacular. I'm not going to bury any leads here. It is a book that I've been looking forward to for a while for a couple of reasons. The aforementioned Ram V, 100%, he is one of the, in my opinion at least, greatest contemporary comic writers out there. I've got damn near everything he's done in the past 10 years, including some stuff which isn't great because he was just starting out. But I still like everything he does. Also, the fact that it's a DC Black Label book, that's a big deal. I was originally hoping it might be a Vertigo title. You can have some Vertigo crossover to DCU, so I don't really mind the idea of that one. Since Vertigo got announced, all we've really had is a rebranding of Nice House by the Sea, which is now on a mid-season break. So I'm really looking forward to them doing something else like that. DC Vertigo is kind of where I cut my teeth in the comic books as a young adult. But Black Label is certainly better than nothing. It means they can go to some dark places, particularly dealing with a character whose superpower is effectively he can die. Then when he comes back from that death, the nature of the death kind of influences what his next superpower will be. And that alone is pretty dark. But we don't start in a dark place. We start in quite a loving one. We do have this version of him where he gave up that life. He decided being a superhero wasn't for him anymore. It was just constant death and nothing really changing. He was going through the motions and decided to choose life. He found somebody he loved. They were married, had children, grandchildren. He dies an old man after a life well lived before having to leave in the middle of the night so it doesn't freak anyone out, because then he does die and comes back as the younger version that he always comes back as. So yeah, still a little bit dark. But interestingly, because he died just by the progression of time, the power he gets when he comes back gives him access to some kind of temporal, maybe causality, maybe infinite universe realm. It's not 100% explained in this first issue, other than the fact that we know that there has been some other versions of the Resurrection Man who've done this before, and for whatever reason, their deaths have given them some control or power over time. Now, conceptually, that alone is pretty neat for me. I kind of like the idea of it. I'm not completely over the multiverse kind of thing yet. This way of getting into it is at least slightly more interesting than just Portal, because I want to do something with another version of myself, like an almost involuntary being thrust into this world and now just having to survive and figure it out. I like that as a way going forward. But it also gives a chance to see some other versions of this character and some other lives lived, good or not. The one we get in this one is a version of him in a Japanese POW camp. And this could have been a ropey area to go to. An awful lot of Japanese Americans ended up the victim of some quite extreme racism during this period. And our main bad guy is somebody who's got a disability. And I was like, oh, these are some sketchy grounds to be trying to put a story onto. But Ram absolutely manages it. We find out more about who this guy is and the reason for his villainy and what his villainy entails. And you realise he's just a terrible, terrible person. And throughout all this, we get Anand RK doing an amazing job. Like I said, there was another reason I was excited about it, and he is one of the other reasons. In fact, he's probably one of the big ones, because he's an artist I really, really like. He's worked with Ram a couple of times before, at least that I'm aware of. Graffiti's Wall, an absolutely brilliant book. Very frustratingly that as a comic book store I can't get it, even though it's published by Dark Horse Comics, but a friend of mine did buy me a copy. It's great, go and check it out. And also Radio Apocalypse, which if you've been following my stuff for a while, I think there's one I might have done, not still doing this as a podcast. I loved it. Very, very disappointed it only got 2 issues and then was cancelled for some unknown reason. I genuinely think it's one of the most disappointing non-finished comic books I've ever encountered. But I love his artwork, and in this particular case, we get to see him showing us beautiful moments and cosmic time travel vistas ahead of us, but also very, very dark moments as well. Thankfully, he doesn't really dwell on them too much. He makes sure we have to see them. We can't look away. But there's no point where I feel like he's rubbing in our faces and anything. There's no trauma porn or sense that he's kind of highlighting it for the sake of titillation or anything like that. He's literally showing us that terrible things happened and making sure we're aware of the time they took place and why they took place and the people who were affected by them. And he does it in such a way that is very, very captivating. Throw in Mike Spicer on the colours as well, and again, those lofty cosmic highs to Second World War prisoner of war camp lows. His colouring does wonderfully on this one. Genuinely can't wait to see what happens with the rest of this one. It's been on my pull list since it came out, as it was before it got even listed. I'm really looking forward to the rest of it. I hope you manage to get hold of a copy of yourself too. But that's it for me for now. Until I see you all again. Love catching you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.